Hello guys, welcome back. So I want to kind of discuss property management with you guys. There are a bunch of new realtors here, so welcome. And I just wanted to spend the next few minutes kind of discussing what we do. We've been up and running for a little over a year now. So I wanted to dive in and explain what we do, how we help you, how we help your clients, what the process is, and then that way you guys are educated when you are chatting with your clients. So first and foremost, we do have a page on the virtual office. So if you just log into the virtual office, there is a bolded section that says property management. All you have to do is click on that and it gives you a breakdown. My email is right at the top there for any questions, leads, introductions with potential clients, things like that. And about halfway down the page, it also explains how you can do a rental assessment for your client. So it has a little DIY section there. If you are not comfortable doing a CMA for a client for rental property, you can also order one through the virtual office. You would just put in your information if the property is already listed on MLS, or if it was at any one point posted on MLS, you can put the MLS listing in there, and it takes about 3 days to turn it around. You can also get a rush request, which is 1 business day. So again, if you're not comfortable with doing a CMA on your own and you don't, or you just don't have the time, let's be honest, everyone is busy, then you can definitely just order one through the office and we will send one off to you. Now, at the bottom of the screen, there are some information about COVID. It's a little outdated now, but there are still pertinent information there for you. And then also on our page, we have areas and communities that we service. So just as a heads up, we do not service all areas and communities. We are still local here in Calgary. Eventually the goal would be to expand outwards, but as our team grows, that's when we will do that. So please check on the website and the virtual office as well to make sure that we service your area before you introduce a client or anything like that. Again, that's just on the virtual office. It's all in alphabetical order. So you would just click, let's say it's Arbor Lake, you would just click the A and make sure Arbor Lake is in that list. So you can find all of that information on the virtual office. And then of course you can reach out to me. So the main goal for property management is to, of course, take care of your client if they are not looking to sell their property at this time. So the property could be for sale right now and it might not be selling, or they might not be getting the price that they're looking for and they're thinking about renting it out. So the best way to start an introduction would be to send me an email with your client. And the email will just be like, hey, this is my client, this is their property. Give me a little bit of information about the property so I'm not completely going in blind. If the property is currently available for sale, list me the MLS number so I can look it up. And then I will reach out to your client and, see what they're looking for, answer their questions. Everyone has different questions. Everyone's scenario is very different. So I don't want to blanket everything and say, this is, what we offer and everything like that, because everyone's situation is very different. But overall, we offer 2 different services. So the first service, of course, is full management. So the full management goes into everything from starting the marketing of the property, posting it for rent, taking professional photos, posting for rent signs if the property is not already for sale, and getting the property up and advertised. Then we conduct all of the showings, all of the applications we receive, and then we do a full credit and background check to make sure that the credit and background obviously matches the tenant qualifications. We also do a landlord reference check, and we also verify their employment. So we actually make sure that they're working where they say they're working. We have a standard here at CIR for property management that the gross monthly income for the applicant, so for the potential tenant, is 3 times the monthly rent. So let's say, for example, the monthly rent is $1,000. Our standard is to make sure that that applicant is receiving at least $3,000 gross per month, because we never want anyone to live house poor. So that is the main goal for us. So that is kind of our standard. Obviously if they make more, that's great. But that is kind of our standard that we have here. And it's pretty standard within property management overall, the 3 times rule. And once we do all of that, then we look at how that person would fit into the home. If it's a family of 5 that's applying for a 1-bedroom condo, it's not going to work, right? So we look at all aspects of the application. If they have a 150-pound dog and there's no dogs allowed in the condo, then that obviously is a no-brainer. So we make sure that the application fits the place, and also they're pre-vetted and make sure that they're clear on their background checks and their credit history and things like that. And then what we do is we reach out to your client, the homeowner, and we break everything down. We say, we have an application. These are the details. We say it's a single person, credit check was good, background check was good, things like that. And we give them a little bit of information about the applicant as well. They work for Alberta Health Services, and, they have a 2-pound little puppy, and they were early to the appointment and they were very nice to meet and things like that. So they get a little bit of a background of who potentially could be living in their home. And then your client always has the final say. So we give our recommendation, and if we're already reaching out to them to let them know that we have an application, we've already pre-approved them. So we'll always say, we recommend approval for this applicant. And then your client at the end of the day has the final say. And they can either accept it, they can decline it, or they can negotiate. They can ask us questions, anything that would make them feel more comfortable. And then if and when your client does accept the application, then CIR moves to putting through the lease. We sign the lease for your client, everything like that. And then we move the tenant into the property. After we move the tenant into the property, we take care of the management start to finish. So if something happens, 3 months in and the tenant calls and says, my dishwasher stops working, they would call us. So they would never call your client. They would call us. We would call someone out and they would fix it. And then we would let your client know, what the case is if we have to replace the dishwasher or anything like that. So your client would never interact with the tenant directly. Everything would flow through us. And then we collect the rent. We make sure we collect the rent in our trust account. And then we disperse that to your client. It's automatically deposited into their bank account. Okay. So that is the full management. So your client is very disconnected from the tenant. So, it creates that barrier, that safe place, I guess, for a lot of people. And it also creates that security that we are, doing our due diligence, because some people don't know how to do a credit check or don't know, how to do a landlord reference, or just simply too busy to do it. So the second option is maybe they are just too busy, but they're not too busy to do the day-to-day management. Let's say it's a new property. They know that everything is brand new or working or under warranty. So they don't need the day-to-day management, but they're just too busy to conduct the showings, do the background checks, everything like that. So we also offer that service only. So that is considered a list and lease service. So with that, the same process applies: the marketing, the advertising, all of the showing requests, the negotiations, everything like that. It's all still the same. And then once the tenant moves into the property, then we hand everything back over to your client, and then your client self-manages it. So we hand over the security deposit. So your client has to hold the security deposit in an account, in a trust account. The lease is written in their name. All the paperwork, the move-in documents, any photos or anything is given to your client. And then your client is responsible to connect with the tenant and figure out how their rent is going to be paid. E-transfer is honestly the easiest when you're dealing with individual landlords and tenants. And then we are no longer in the picture. So those are the 2 main services that we offer. So when you're chatting with clients, you can kind of see, what they're more comfortable with. Perhaps they're out of town and they can't do just a list and lease. They have to have full management because they're not here. Or maybe they're just, simply too busy and they just need help with the renting of it, So we do offer those 2 services. So please make sure that you discuss both of those services with your client. And then you can, of course, email us and introduce us. Of course, like I said, everyone has different properties, different situations. So I can't say, it costs this much money and this much money, because it really varies by each situation. question, is the owner going to be a non-resident? Are they moving to Germany? Right? That makes a difference, right? It also makes a difference for their non-resident taxes. If you're not familiar with non-resident taxes, you can go onto the CRA website and check that out, because there are significant implications when you have a rental property in Canada and you are not a resident. So those impact it. The second one is it a house, condo, townhouse, things like that. So there's different factors that make up what our fees and services are. So I don't like to blanket and say, it costs, 12% and it's this much money, because it might differ. So that's why I want to have a conversation with your clients directly and discuss our services and fees and see what kind of options we can give for them that will make it work. Now, once your client has signed a management agreement with us, and let's say they're with us for 2 or 3 years, and they say, hey, we actually think we're going to try and sell the property once this tenant moves out. If you have referred your client to us, our first phone call, email, text message, whatever, is to you, the realtor, okay? We want to maintain that relationship. We want to have your clients having a positive experience in property management. And so we want to make sure that your property is taken care of, so that when it does go back to the buy-sell market, it goes back to you. Okay. So we are just, we're like almost like a babysitter, right? We're taking care of your client's property for a certain amount of time. And when they're ready to sell the property, we contact you. And then it would be up to you to reach out to the client and, figure out next steps on how to get the property listed and have it up for sale. So that is essentially what we do in property management. We are looking after your client. We are looking after the property. We are making sure that they are well taken care for, so that when the time comes, we can put them back to you so that you can help them sell their home. So that is in a nutshell. I could probably talk for another 30 minutes, but I won't. So if you have any other questions about the property management division, again, please reach out to my email or give us a call in the office, and I'd be more than happy to chat with you. And if you have any clients that are considering renting out their properties, you can introduce us through email, and I'd be more than welcome to discuss and chat for next steps.